sing? Y'all want to entertain while we wait on Dawn?
We'll do well to talk.
Yeah, we get through what we're doing.
What about Tara and Ellie and everything that's going to come together?
That was hilarious.
We have cracked over this.
Pretty. I thought girls were dramatic, but those boys, really.
There's books that
Whatever you think, I guess.
Well, we could probably get the pledge and stuff in, and then she might.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being here tonight. Is Brianna? Is she back here? Or is she still out there? Okay. Do I have a student that would like to volunteer and come up and lead the pledge? Anybody? You're going to make me do it? Oh, I got one. Come here. Everybody stand, we'll do the pledge. You can stand right there. Right there's fine.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And just a reminder, there is a sign-in sheet as you come in up front if you'd like to sign in. And do we have any revisions?
Yes, but you do have a revised agenda, and I don't think there's any other additions if you have the correct copy that says revised at the top. But I would submit that for the record.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have our recognitions, and we'll start with our mountain movers.
Okay. And I do think that I just think I'd be remiss starting this board meeting any other way. I know that everybody knows that over the last few days, we have really seemed like we've dealt with several different issues in our school district. And I know that in tough times, the engineer way is that we all come together and we support each other, and we try to provide help and support to those in need. And I think it would be appropriate, we normally don't do this, but I'm going to ask Ms. Hardy that we would just have a moment of silence, and everybody in the audience, if you pray, you can pray. If you meditate, you can meditate. Whatever you do. Okay, with that, I believe we're ready for our mountain movers, and I guess we'll begin with our community mountain mover is usually how we begin. So, Miss Loretta, are you here today? Come forward, please. And if you don't mind, Miss Hardy, I'll let you present the certificate. Our community mountain mover this month is Interfaith Wellness Ministry, and this is Sister Loretta. And she began her work in Estill County in 1993 after a drive through our county from Berea. She fell in love with the area, made the decision that this is where she needed to be. She began her transition to Estill County as a mission and outreach coordinator at Markham and Wallace Hospital. She left Markham and Wallace in 1996 and developed Interfaith Wellness Ministries, who celebrated a 20-year anniversary in 2017. These are just some of the things that they do at Interfaith Wellness. They do diabetes coalition programming, oral health programmings, cooking matters classes, community garden programs for children, body fitness community classes, dictionary program for third graders, school supply drives and disbursements in August and January, and a winter warmth program. And I know there are many others. And I know Interfaith Wellness, since I've been here, has been a valued partner, and long before I got here, you've been a valued partner of this school district. So congratulations to Interfaith Wellness, and I would also like to present you, Sister Loretta, with a Medal of Excellence that you can share with everybody at Interfaith Wellness, and we appreciate what you do for our school district. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're welcome. Our next mountain mover is our certified mountain mover, and she's not able to be with us tonight because she is in Chicago with a group of 8th graders. So for that fact alone, she probably deserves a Medal of Excellence. But it's Miss Andrea Williams, and it's really her first full year as principal at Estill County Middle School. She was assistant principal for 2 years before becoming principal. This is her 22nd year in education. It's always been at the middle school level. And she said that she loves the quirkiness of middle school students because they are on their way to adulthood, but still want you to love them. Andrea said her staff is the best in the district, and they make her job so much easier. And Miss Williams does a fantastic job, and it's a pleasure to recognize her as the certified mountain mover for this month. And finally, Miss Donna, she's gonna miss it for her turn. Is our classified mountain mover, and that's Miss Lauren Cheney. And Lauren is our school nurse at Estill Springs. She's been a registered nurse for 10 years, and she's been with the district for 2.5 years. Lauren loves her job, and they love her at Estill Springs. She says the kids are awesome because they still let you cuddle and love them at that age, and that Estill Springs is a great place to work because everyone works together. And I wouldn't just say this about Lauren, but I'll say it about our entire medical staff. The service they provide to our kids are outstanding. So Lauren, it's appropriate that since tonight is Estill Springs night, that we honor you as our classified mountain mover of the month.
Thank you.
Thank you for
all that. Okay, next on the agenda, we have our school student presentations, and I think we have Estill Springs Elementary.
Good evening. Welcome to the board meeting, and thank you, school board, for having us tonight. I'm Jessica Mullins, the principal at Estill Springs, and we have some very special things to share with you tonight. The first thing we're going to discuss is the CHARGE grant, which is a grant that several within our school district are taking part in, but I'm very blessed to have several teachers participating, and they're going to start our meeting talking a little bit about how the CHARGE grant benefits our students at Estill Springs.
Thank you so much for being here. The CHARGE grant has been really good for our district because one of the things that it offers a lot of professional development for our K through 8 teachers. So in professional development in social studies and history. And one of the big things of the grant is that it offers an opportunity to get technology for your classroom, which is definitely something that we need for our district. And so, and also, one of the things that is big in the grant is making sure that kids are engaged in history. So that is why one of the things we did at Estill Springs is we did a Kentucky gallery walk. And so we have a little slideshow for you just to let you see exactly what we did for our students.
My boat's in the school. I don't know that one.
And what we did was we, each wing of our school took a part of Kentucky history and made like a little display, and the kids got to go around and learn a little bit more about Kentucky.
And now, as a way to get our kids more involved in the community, we have some students that we've brought with us. Our second graders are going to be singing My Old Kentucky Home, and then we have some kindergarten and first grade students who are going to present something.
know that the leader of our state is, part of his job is to sign bills. Oh, I'm sorry. Part of his job is to do what?
Sign bills into the laws.
Good. A bill he recently signed states that in every public school that they should display the words in a very prominent place. A prominent place is
Important place so that everyone can easily see. On behalf of Estill Springs Elementary, we present you with this candy. Turn around.
Thank you, guys. You did a fantastic job, and we're proud of each and every one of you. Thank you. And we're proud of Estill Springs.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a couple more things we're gonna share, so if everybody just wants to sit right where you're standing, you can watch Miss Mullins and let me know if I do okay. All right? I might need your help. I do want to take a moment to recognize the teachers that have been here to present tonight. All 4 of them are participating in the Charge Grant. Miss Jolynn Owens, who is our Arts and Humanities teacher. Go right ahead. We got soccer games tonight. Go Casey, you can do it. You're welcome. Also, we would like to recognize Miss Morgan Worrell. Morgan teaches kindergarten. We have Miss Rachel Newby, who teaches 2nd grade. And we have Miss Des Kirby here, who teaches special ed for us. So I'm so thankful for these 4 teachers and for all of the staff that we have at Estill Springs. There are 58 total staff members there. And I'll let you know that each and every one of us benefited from the gallery walk. I bet there were things on there that you had forgotten about or hadn't thought of for a while. So thank you all for your participation. Thank you, students, for being here today. We have loved seeing you learn specifically about Kentucky this year, so that's been a blessing. Right before we close this evening, just a couple more short remarks. I do want to give you a construction update. I just have a very few slides, but I know many of you have not been able to see Estill Springs during this process, so we're just going to show you a few before and after pictures. At the end of construction, we will be having an open house, and I want to invite each of you to come and participate in that, as it will be a very big event for our community. Thank you for coming. Thank you. I will let you know that it's funny that I was able to be a student at Estill Springs in 1988 when it opened, and then 30 years later I still am there. I will not be there for the next 30-year reunion, but I am thankful to be here now to see all of the renovations taking place and all of the improvements that are made. And thank you, school board, for taking such a big part in supporting us through this adventure. But I will just give you a few slides here. Our front office. This was a picture of our front office prior to construction beginning. Oh, Matthew.
Backwards. There you go.
Okay, front office. This is the same angle now. And that's our entrance into the front office. Much larger, much safer, much more inviting. The foyer. This was right as construction began, as you walk right through the front doors. This is our foyer now. Look how exciting. That E is the best thing. Yes, it is. Whoops. Okay, here is our entrance. Now, if you all remember where you see the difference in the brick and the blue here, our front doors used to end where the bricks are. So people would walk through the first set of doors, second set of doors before they ever walked into the office. It was not a secure entry, and now it is. All traffic is funneled through the first set of doors into the office. These doors remain locked during the school day, so we have increased student safety tremendously. The cafeteria, well, this was after school last year. We didn't feed them in that.
3 days after school.
3 days after school ended. This is our cafeteria now. This really displays our new lighting and our new ceilings, our new tile, and our paint. The front walkway, this was during the summer. We used to swim up through there. This is a canal. This is our front walkway now. The old music room. Used to, you would go down the yellow wing and enter the music room that way. Now we have created an amazing administrative suite which houses our family resource, guidance counselor, and myself, and then a conference room which has been wonderful for us. This is it also has a copier room, a teacher workroom. There's the hallway. It's amazing what you can get out of one music room. The gym. Now I want to say, before we look at the gym, this is a picture of the gym over the summer. Now mind you, we had to put all of the materials into the gym. Some of us that participated in that are still scarred from that experience, and you'll see why. But I also want to give kudos to our students and to Coach Smith. They spent the first 6 months of school having health lessons within the classroom or having PE outdoors. We made a temporary fenced-in area because they really couldn't do much in here. This is our gym over the summer, and this is our gym now. We have new paint, new lighting in the gym, the heating and air is fixed, and the roof above the gym is completely fixed at this point. Our drive-through, this is an aerial view from right now. Used to, parents would exit here. We've lengthened the driveway and the covered walkway for our students, and you can see they're working on finishing the roof there, but it's a much safer drive-through, and it keeps the students primarily in the building during that process. Our current roof process, you can see we have 3 sections that are nearing finish. The roof over the gym is finished, and we've been blessed with good weather. So the weather has really helped them expedite that process, and we're really pleased with everything going on at this point. So that is our update for construction. And in closing tonight, I just want to say that one of the things I'm most proud about at our school this year has been our ability to grow our own leaders within our school staff. I have been blessed with 3 teachers who have received their national board certification. The board recognized them: Jolynn Owens, Christy Floyd, and Tracy Baber. I have 2 other teachers who I am absolutely sure will finish next year, bringing our total to 5. And I also have Miss Brooke Mays here, who will finish her leadership degree next month and will be principal certified. She's kept that secret. I'm telling it on her. But that's a huge deal that we have grown leaders within our school this year. I'm not willing to share them, but I'm proud to have them. That's my only rule. But I do want to thank, on behalf of the school, I want to thank our school board, the district staff, and each of my fellow schools for supporting us. You are the reason we're successful. Families, thank you for your part. You are the reason we are successful. And students, we wouldn't have a school without you. We love you, and we thank you all for making our school such a special place. Thank you for having us tonight. They okay to go?
They are, yes. Did awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Didn't they do great?
They did
Sounded
wonderful.
awesome.
Thank you. Ms. Hardy, if you don't care, before we continue on, a couple of our board members came in after Sean did. Sean is here with our law firm tonight.
Thank you for coming. I had an emergency. I ran the doctor's office in town, so I was running behind.
Jonathan called me and said he was going to send the best person he had, and that included him. So Sean's here tonight
We appreciate it.
representing our law firm. Thank you for being here.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have facilities, and we have the Estill Springs Renovation District roofing projects.
Peter offered to come back tonight, but because there was just a couple of things, he was here last night for the LPC meeting. I just told him we would be able to go ahead and make it, but he does send his best to everyone. In terms of the roofing projects, the middle school is really about 98-99% complete. They've been waiting on a detail to tie down the flashing and the eaves, and that has been released by the architects and finally approved for completion. And as they're going to do those eaves, they are going to pressure wash them because you can tell they really need it. So that will take place, and just as soon as they get that done, they'll get the yard complete. I've asked them to try to speed that up, and Peter is talking to Riddle Construction, and we really want them to concentrate on that. We'd like to get that done before our parents start showing up for programs and stuff. So I've asked them to try to get that one wrapped up here sometime, hopefully before the middle of May. Get the parking lot cleared, get it done. And that, of course, brings us to Estill Springs, which now is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50% complete. In terms of getting the metal on the roof. As they showed you, they've done 3 of the 4 wings. We do have a hold up in terms of the guttering system because there was a previously condition that has been found that is going to have to be corrected. We'll have a change order coming on that. They never expected to find that old black OSB board underneath some of the awning work, and that no longer meets code, so they're looking for a solution to that. They would have not been able to have found that unless they went up there and tore a bunch of stuff out to begin with. So it shouldn't be that big of an issue, but that roof has come along as well. I'm hoping that that can be completed as well. They've been moving rather quickly. They've had good weather. So hopefully, we're hoping for about a June 1st wrap up on that. So that's where we're at with an update.
Okay, next on it, we have a consideration or approval of a pay application number 9.
Yes, and you do have a pay application there. Remember, the roof projects at the middle school and Estill Springs go together. So this reflects a payment of $128,250. It's been reviewed by the architect and approved for payment, and that's my recommendation as well.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the bus garage and our land purchase update.
The land purchase, as you know, was approved, and it's moving forward after the geotechnical survey, but now they're trying to get a boundary survey complete. And as KDE has made a few changes, they made a few different requirements for us. And we were fortunate enough, it was at a time while the leaves were still not on the trees. Instead of this survey company had to go in there and survey every bit of it by foot, believe it or not, they were able to fly a drone. And they were able to fly a drone on the boundary lines, which it does cost in order to do that, but it doesn't cost anywhere near what it does to do it by foot, the entire boundary survey. What's amazing about that, they say that they can get that boundary within about 6 inches by flying a drone, so it's pretty doggone accurate to do it that way. So that survey is moving forward, but it did have an increase in price because of having to fly it. And I think that increase was $7,300. I told them in order to expedite to go ahead, but I just wanted to get your all's final approval on that tonight.
Motion? Do we have a second? Sheila, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have a consideration approval of appraiser services.
Of course, we have to have the property appraised. KDE has a list of certified appraisers. We sent letters of request to 5 or 6 different appraisers. I got contact from 3, but we only had one submit a bid, and that's Mr. Steve Adams in Winchester. He submitted a price of $1,900, and I did some checking around. That is a very reasonable price to survey commercial land, in this case farm land / commercial property. After that, I've already talked to Steve. He's on his way back from a trip, so he's going to get started here hopefully tomorrow if you approve this tonight. So that's my recommendation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Donna? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have a facility plan update.
Let me give you the minutes from last night's meeting. They weren't available until we met last night, so I wanted to get you all the minutes to that meeting. One of the things that came up in that meeting was also a timeline of where we're at with construction and future projects. So I wanted to give you all these 2 documents, and we didn't have these until we met last night. So, and there's additional copies. Matter of fact, this timeline will go up on the website tomorrow. I'll get Jeremy to post it, and just so we can let our public know exactly where we're at. But the local planning committee now has had a 4th meeting. After the 3rd meeting, we sent a facility plan draft to KDE, and they came back with some recommendations, but pretty much overall, they accepted the draft as we submitted. There was a couple of regulation changes with that, and I believe you actually have a copy of the district facility plan. It's already in your packet. But if you look at that district facility plan, you will notice what our capital construction priorities are. And on that plan that you already had in your package, you will see that Estill County High School is the first priority project. Now you're saying, well, what about the Career Tech Center? The Career Tech Center has already been approved. There's a BG1 on that. So because that construction project's already been approved, it would not go on this new facility plan. But as you can see, Estill County High School, once the Area Technology Center is complete, Estill County High School is next up on the block for renovation, and that would include athletic facilities, and of course that's going to be based on how much funding we have once the current projects are complete. You will also see that under category 2 of capital construction projects that start right at the very bottom of the page, you have Estill Springs Elementary. Remember, in long-range planning, and I'm talking about long-range because South Irvin is still a nice facility and it does host our preschool program, but long-range, if there ever comes a time in the district that we would move preschool to Estill Springs, then that is in this plan. What would the construction that it would need to take place to do that. But that is probably not something that we would even tackle in the next 4 years, but it is part of our overall plan, so we want to go ahead and make sure that it's listed. Remember that South Irvin is listed as a school that is called to be in transition, which means that it is slated to be closed at some point in time. So that does limit what we can do at South Irvin, but remember, South Irvin just went through a small renovation as I was arriving on the scene 4 years ago. So that school is still in good shape, but that's the next thing that you would see on the list there. There's also some renovations with the middle school, and that's concerning safety and also ADA accessibility that's part of that. In the middle of that second page there, the committee came up with management support areas, and as you can see, there's a new bus garage, a new storage maintenance facility, and a new central board office. As you all know, we are building a new bus garage, but because we don't have an approved BG1 yet, that's not going to happen until probably July. So once that BG1 is approved, and no, that's not right. Construction bids are supposed to take place in July. The BG1 is going to happen either the May or June board meeting. The bus garage is on track. It's on schedule to begin construction sometime in August. But because there's not a current BG1, we had to leave it on the facility plan. And then at the bottom, you will see district need, and those are priority 5 projects, and usually those include any type of renovations or construction projects that involve athletic facilities. You can see that there are several different athletic facility projects that's on there in terms of renovations, in some cases a new facility. What will happen as we move forward, once we can get past August and the bids have been open for the bus garage and they've been open for the area technology center, we will know then what kind of funding we have left. And then that will determine what type of construction project we will do at the high school. And when we move to that high school to do those construction projects, what KDE will allow us to do, they will allow us to go to priority 5 and pick out the things that we can afford to do or the things that we consider that are priority during that time. This committee's made up of 20 people. Mr. Burkhart, he's the chair of the committee. And I don't know, Mr. Burkhart, you got anything you'd like to add?
Other than we spent, 4 meetings coming to the conclusion that we came. So hopefully it's, something that the board will take into consideration.
KDE actually held us up a little bit. We're a little bit behind schedule. But, and because of that, I'm going to ask you all to have a special called board meeting next Thursday night, which the only agenda item will be to approve this plan for the final time. This plan reflects a little bit over $18 million of district need. We will have some funding, SFCC funding, which is critical needs funding that will come about because of this project. We should hear something sometime in the fall. That'd be correct, Angie? In terms of the SFCC offer, which is going to be, my guess, somewhere around $500,000 that we'll be able to use on the high school. And it will happen because of the need that we have in our district. But what you're doing tonight is you're accepting the approved plan that was approved last night by the local planning committee. And you're setting a public hearing date, which we did that last time, or at least we said that, for next Thursday night. So that would be my recommendation. If anybody, and first, if anybody's got any questions, I guess.
Make your questions.
Not Billy, I'm sorry.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda, oh, I'm sorry.
Let me real quick, this is a construction timeline that we've had now for a little bit over a year. I went in this morning after our meeting last night, and there's some dates that was firmed up. I met with the architect yesterday afternoon before the meeting, and you can see on that timeline and budget page about where we're at. We're currently at number 7. And as you can see, we have enough money to build the Career Tech Center. You remember the board took action in March. If you look at item number 9, you would see that we would actually go in the red because we do not have enough construction funding to actually begin the bus garage. But as you know, if we don't move the bus garage, we can't build the Area Technology Center. So the board in March approved a general fund resolution that will be sort of like we're gonna loan the construction fund some money from the general fund up until a point of time that we will receive additional funding. Now, that's gonna be in July of 2020, which is next summer. The nickel should be fully equalized, and that will give us another, I believe it's estimated to be somewhere around $5.65 million additional money, because that's the nickel finally being equalized at 100%. Also, don't forget, we have submitted all of our paperwork for an EDA grant of $3 million. We have jumped 3 hurdles, and we are now waiting to hear about an award for that grant. We should know something by May 15th, if not earlier. So if we have that $3 million, that gives us an additional $3 million that we can spend on any of our construction priorities that we have moving forward. So it's an exciting time. I know some people are still, I've not seen any dirt moved yet. It's going to happen. It's scheduled now. KD has held us up a little bit, but it's going to happen in June that you'll start seeing the dirt being moved for the Area Technology Center. The bus garage will be closed sometime around the middle of June and be tore down probably by the 1st of July, somewhere in that neighborhood. We've got a couple extra weeks to play with if Mr. Burkhart needs a little extra time, but he's already prepared. We'll be bringing a lease to them next board meeting, correct, Mr. Burkhart, for leasing garage from the city of Irvin. They have generously allowed us to use a garage that they have located over by the Carhart facility, the old facility, and we'll lease that from them basically for the utility payment and just a little bit of aggravation. So it's really, Mayor Gross and the City Council has really reached out to help us in that matter. So we've got everything planned and on the ready. If we can get a fire lit under KDE, we're ready to go. The sad part is, because they're delaying us, they are really putting into jeopardy whether or not we can open this thing in August of 20. And if they don't get it done, we're just going to have to sit back and be patient. And if it don't, we have to open it in January of 21. We'll open it in January 21, but it is going to happen. So that's an update. And as soon as we know how much money we have, we'll get some artist renderings out there of what the softball, baseball field might look like, what we're going to be doing at the high school, whether or not we're going to be renovating a football facility or maybe even looking at building an entire new facility. All those things are possibilities, but it's based on how much funding we have available when the time comes. And exactly what KD will allow us to do. Remember, they do have regs, and sometimes they can throw a wrench in the best laid plans sometimes, but that's pretty much an update. Hope that wasn't too long.
Next on the agenda, we have approved service contracts and agreements. First is the insurance agent.
Okay, last time I gave you the 3 quotes from our insurance, from 3 different insurance agencies, and we had 3 quotes. We had a quote from Linville Insurance in Richmond. We had a quote from Assured Partners in Lexington, and we also had a quote from Maverick Insurance Group in Pikeville. And I've taken a lot of time to go through these and talk to some different people. I don't know, I mean, I don't want to do anything that the board doesn't wish to do, but I have looked at these rather closely. And just based on some of the issues that we feel like that we've had over time, I personally think that it may be time for us to consider a new insurance agent. My recommendation to the board is that we would go with Assured Partners. I'm not going to fall out with you if you want to go with somebody else, but now that is my recommendation to go with Assured Partners out of Lexington. They have a fantastic track record of representing school districts. They have a large staff that once we make a claim, we can make that claim and we no longer have to touch it. We don't have to worry about the fact they have adjusters that's on staff, and they work with the insurance company. Of course, the insurance company has adjusters. We know how the game works. The adjusters come out and they say they're going to do this. Well, this company has adjusters hired as well. Say, no, wait a minute. This is the real damages here. This is what you need to do in terms of this school district has paid their premium. They're a good customer. You need to step up to the plate and cover the damages that they have. And I appreciate the service from Linville Insurance. I really do. Fine man, fine family. But I believe that it is time for us to look elsewhere, and I would recommend Assured Partners. That's my recommendation. If you have something you'd rather do, then we're not going to get sideways.
Do we have actual money value quotes?
Until we hire an agent, once we hire an agent, each one of these agents have access to the different insurance companies that insure school districts. The biggest insurer in the state is probably Liberty Mutual.
I know I found that correlation between them.
Yeah, but you can't go directly to the company. You have to go through an agent. The other thing is that the bigger the company is, the more clients they represent, the more leverage they have in order to leverage that for a better price for our school district. And that's another reason that I considered the fact that we should look at Assured Partners.
I'll make a motion that we should go with Assured Partners.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Next, we have the contract for auditor.
You have a spreadsheet there, I believe, in your packet that gives the two different quotes for the two different auditing firms. One is White and Associates in Richmond, Kentucky. The other one is Barnes and Denning, and that's in Crestview Hill, Kentucky, which of course is northern Kentucky. Both of them conduct a lot of audits. Mr. White, Artie White at White and Associates, has been an auditor in our school district before. Angie, I don't know if you have any information, additional information.
The only information I have is one of the school districts that Barnes and Denning did last year, so they really dragged their feet in getting the audit to the board and for the review. They had some staff changes, so they do have a large staff.
Yeah, it's really surprising they have a large staff, but same number of schools about it. But and I do have some concerns about the fact of them being in northern Kentucky and being able to get here. I do know that I've been able to work with Mr. White in two different school districts. He's done an admirable job both times. The last time the board was with White and Associates 3 years ago. But now, as we all know, it's not good to have the same auditor for years upon years upon years. And I think Mr. White had been the auditor here at least 6 years before I got here. So it was time to have a break, and that is really a good thing. Anybody you talk to in auditing will tell you that you don't need to have that appearance that there is some type of relationship there that goes beyond just an auditing service contract. So we didn't leave White and Associates because there was any issues or we found any issues. We left because it was just time to have a break in that service contract. my recommendation to you all would be, because of their past performance, I would go with White and Associates, and I feel like we can work with them. And in terms of the difference in the price, I mean, you're talking about $1,250, I think. No, I'm sorry, $1,750 over a 3-year period, and that is still, it's a little bit less than, is that about the same thing we paid this year? So it's the equivalent to what we have paid. I think this year was 17 something. So my recommendation would be that we would go with White and Associates.
I make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Brian, you seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, next on the agenda, we have our consent or action items.
Just a couple things I'll point out. Earlier tonight, the board signed a resolution concerning the untimely death of Brooklyn Nicole Fox, and we will be sending that resolution to family members, and we again express our sympathy for her family, and we ask that the Lord be with them over the next few weeks. I know it's going to be a struggle for their family. It's a struggle for us as a school district. And we've got a lot of hurting kids, hurting staff. We have a hurting community. So continue to keep us in your prayers as we go forward. There's several contracts on here. The MOU, item number E, I'll just point that out. That's the JKG contract with Jobs for Kentucky Graduates. That's at the high school. That is a good agreement and partnership with them. We also have item number G, which is a dual credit MOA for Bluegrass and Community Technical College. We'll be meeting with them this coming Wednesday, and they are looking to offer dual credit classes in our career tech classes, our business, agriculture, and family and consumer sciences. I got out of the 19th century there and did not say home ec.
We would have known what you were talking about if you
You would have known what I was talking about if I'd said home ec. But that is exciting, and we're looking forward to that meeting this coming Wednesday morning in Mr. Winkler's office. We have 4, I'm sorry.
We're talking
Good.
about
I said Miss Smallwood.
We have 4 out-of-state trips for the middle school and high school. I think some of those are Gear Up related. Also, the FPS team presented last time at the last board meeting, but we didn't approve their trip. So we need to approve that so they'll be covered by insurance. And so everyone does know, for the record, the board has picked up the entire registration fee, which include housing and meals on that. I think the Boosters Club is picking up the travel to and from Massachusetts, but the board has picked up probably 70% of the cost that was associated with that trip. The boosters are paying for the rest of it. Very exciting. Item number I is the MOA for Project Home Network. That is the same grant that we applied for last year, and Mr. John Isford is in charge of that grant with Markham and Wallace. And if awarded that grant, it would provide a new CMA to provide health services to Estill County High School. And also it would provide telemedicine services for all of our students that would allow our nurses to contact pediatricians and hospital staff directly for any cases that may need prescriptions or whatever. It eliminates having to take that trip to the doctor, and it's a good service to provide to our students. So if we're lucky, we would receive that grant. And I don't think there's anything else under other. So that is the consent items, and my recommendation would be to approve those as presented.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Any discussion? All in favor? They do. Next on the agenda, we have public comments.
We're not used to that end.
Yes, sir.
I'll speak a second about the insurance, about paying. I guess, I'm not an educator, so I don't know education, like I do insurance. So I think that you They're not able to quote these things, and there's only about 4 of us in the state that have it. So really, you're only gonna get a quote for every year, which really doesn't help you. You're not really getting to
Could you tell us who you are or what your association is?
Yes, I'm Doug Hodden, I'm with Maverick Insurance, and we submitted a proposal for the agent of record. A lot of schools do the agent of record, of course, but, you know, usually when they do them, they're choosing agents to represent a certain carrier. You know, without having another option, you're really not having an opportunity to help yourself. City is probably one of the largest insured school districts in the Midwest. We have about 1,800 school districts. We have, I personally have 5 in the state. I just wanted to mention that, you know, nothing wrong with the shared partners at all, but they just don't have that program.
I did do some checking into that particular program. Some of the things, whether they are true or not true, I did not feel comfortable with that particular group. I talked to several different people, and you know, it may be that they're a fine company. It may be that there's no issues. I just, at that point, I did not feel comfortable once I'd heard some of the things I did. I'm not an insurance agent by any means. I basically have to go on advice from others or information from others, so that's why I made the recommendation I did, and I did not consider that as one of the I did not really consider the fact that that could be quoted was an advantage based on some information that I had, and I may have the wrong information, but that's why it really did not enter into my recommendation.
Any other public comments? Okay, next on the agenda, we have the superintendent's report of the board member forum.
Real quick, under personnel action, you'll see really tickled for the very first thing on there is Sergeant Mike Tanner. Now with our ROTC program, as you know, we did not have a lead instructor or the sergeant instructor within that program, so really tickled to get that done, and you can see the other employee actions there. Of course, that's board information. My activities report this month, and as you know, I have been super busy with personnel action, and as everyone is aware, we've had several personnel incidents. It's taken up a lot of time, but hopefully there's always greener grass ahead, and but I did want to go ahead and submit those to you. Each of you all should have a KSBA training update there for you, and I think everybody's okay. I know Sheila was actually able to go in December, and Brian at the time could not because of employment, so I think Brian is the one person that has some training hours to get in, and if you see something, Brian, that you want to take, I mean, it's not unusual by any means. You've been on the board now for 4 months, so it's not a shame or not to pick you out and put you up as a bad example. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that, well, no, I'm just saying your job wouldn't allow it. And I mean, we have to realize our board members all have other jobs, or they have other responsibilities that are very important. Sheila with family members. And I mean, so it's hard because being a board member is basically a lot of times, even though the boards, even though the board's duty begins at the beginning of a board meeting and ends at the end of a board meeting, there's a lot of stuff involved, and there's a lot of training that needs to take place. These guys come and do this for $75 a meeting, and that's the only thanks that they get, and I'm sure they get a lot more lip than that once they leave here. So the bottom line is that there are some opportunities out there, and we gave those to you, and Miss Felicia will help you on anything that you need. There is a summer conference coming up, or there's one again in December, or there's different meetings at different times that you can go to. Anything you want to go to, you get with her, she'll take care of it, okay? It won't be an issue. And finally, the last thing is the special called board meeting next Thursday night. We do need to have a quorum if that works for everybody, because we have advertised for 2 weeks for that public hearing. And if we can't have it, then we're going to have to back up and reschedule for 14 days, which would put us maybe in a bigger bind. So it starts at 5:30 for the public hearing, and you all do have to be here for the public hearing. I don't know if we'll have any public comment. You know, we put the timeline out there today and the projects. I'll get all that out there this week. And then we'll have a short board meeting afterwards where you have to vote to send it to the Kentucky Board of Education for final approval. So is everybody good on Thursday night? I know Rhonda
I'm
is
not,
not.
but if everybody else is.
It depends on what's going on with my 2 patients.
Right. So you three definitely feel good.
I could be here.
Okay.
I'm planning on being here to spit that way.
Okay, so we definitely will have 3, maybe 4, and that should be fine. So that's it.
Okay.
That's when y'all have something.
Anybody from the board? Okay, we need to, I'm sorry, you have something, Donna?
I always have something to say. I just want to say once again just how wonderful it is to have our students to come to do presentations, and I think we're all ready to cry tonight. They were awesome. So I just want to say thank you to our teachers and staff and principals, and it's a highlight for me.
We would need a motion to go into closed session.
I make a motion to go into closed session.
Second. Yeah,